miles. I've been trying to do 2 back-to-back, but I've been coming up a little bit short of that probably recently. But that's sort of the ideal, is to run 2 20-mile back-to-back and then 3 10-mile runs during the week. I didn't start running until I turned 50, and even then it was because I mean, it was something that you should do, you know, as you get older, to try to be a little bit more active. It's certainly hardest at the beginning, and it was really helpful at the beginning that I have my wife, who is really persistent. I could just sort of hitch my wagon to her and her routine until things kind of, a habit sort of developed, that things got off the ground. You know, I think, to be honest, my motivation was felt like it was more of a puzzle, that it was something that piqued my curiosity. And along the ways, I sort of discovered things that are kind of extraordinary about it. Just sort of being out in the elements, it's just so unusual, you know, just so far out from the things I do typically. I've run in wind, snow, and freezing temperatures. I should do that a little bit more, but I think I've got a really strong basic diet, thanks to my wife. She's an amazing cook. Sometimes it takes a race to just get the juices going again. I don't really know why, but I don't really feel that great until after I've been running for a little while. So there's a little dread that kind of leads up to my starting a run. I still have goals. You know, there are things that I'm trying to do. As you know, a Facebook friend said to me recently, is just sort of a motto or mantra, is to just keep doing it until the wheels fall off. That is kind of a crazy thing, is that people will recognize me in the grocery store. People will wave to me out on the road. People do recognize me now. It's always sort of surprising. About 45% of the entire field either dropped out or dropped down over the course of the race, due in part maybe to bad luck or whatever it was. But there were winds that ranged from 25 miles to 45 miles an hour, headwinds that would you'd have to tackle in 25-mile increments, you know, either running into it or running back from it, 2 50-mile loops in essence. And then overnight, the temperatures dropped down into the freezing range, and there was 3 mountains to traverse over the course. Often in the dark, yeah. I was out there for, I think, 33 and a half hours, something like that altogether. So, you know, we started before the sun rose, and I finished like 3:30 in the afternoon the next day or thereabouts. The rechargeable lithium-ion batteries that I was using, but I had one in my waist light that just sort of died right away, and then I had a little backup flashlight that really wasn't sufficient, and there was a point where I thought I was just going to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere with no light, and just essentially dead in the water as far as finishing that race went. Cheese quesadilla. They offered little bits of potatoes at one point. They had soup, avocado wraps, little chips and trail mix. They had all kinds of stuff out there. It really wasn't, you had multiple choices. And they also had little packets of what's called goo, which is just, 100 calories in a little pouch that you could just consume really rapidly. I think I probably moved through these things a little bit differently than some. I kind of am like a tank or something like that. I'm really not moving that fast. As far as the mental aspect of it goes, is probably not being able to really process time correctly after a certain point, because it just goes on and on and on and on. You've somehow got to be able to really not think about how much time it's taking. What winds up happening is that it's like putting just part of the shoe on a belt sander and just rubbing it off. It's the bottom outside of the outsole just gets rubbed away. The rest of the shoe is great. So there was a point in time where I was actually trying to patch these things. Just put like a piece of a bike tire down on it, and then extend the life of these shoes. But the patches would get worn away in water, and I never really got it sorted out. And I hung on to them, sometimes using the insoles and sometimes not, and then hanging on to them for way too long. I've got shoes that I worn in 2016 in my first 100-miler that I have buried in with my go-to shoes and my drop bags for the current ones, but I couldn't tell you why. I couldn't. It's maybe has something to do with growing up poor. I just can't quite let them go. But it is pretty funny.